In the class, they both came and sit on their seats. Tell me truly, what happened yesterday? Baekhyun asked. You can believe me, Hemin, Baekhyun assured him. Hemin took a deep breath and stated the whole incident. He also told him that he fell for Yoongi. Hemin, you saw one side. What about other? Baekhyun said. I know I did wrong. I'll ask from him today in the break, Hemin said. Alright, that's great, Baekhyun said. Time skips after the class. Here Hemin was going to Yoongi's cabin when someone pulled him inside the girls' washroom. Hey, that's girls' washroom, Hemin said. Shut up, stupid, and listen to me. Do you remember me? That girl asked. You're that girl who was with Sensei yesterday, Hemin said. Yes, actually, I've to tell you the whole situation before you misunderstand, that girl said. That girl stated the whole incident and Hemin was shocked. Please don't think anything bad about Sensei or me, that girl said. I won't. I've to go now, Hemin said. He rushed out of the washroom. He reached Yoongi's cabin. He was about to knock the door, but he heard something which broke his heart again. I'm ready, Mom. When's the marriage? Yoongi spoke. What? Hemin said. He was shocked after hearing this all. Before hearing more, he ran away. Meanwhile, inside Yoongi's cabin. Fine, I'll come, but I won't meet Dad, Yoongi said. What does that mean, Yoongi? He is your father, Mrs. Min said. Mom, please, I'm not attending Do-yeon's wedding, then Yoongi said. You just have to greet him, Mrs. Min said. Don't force me, Mom, Yoongi said. Can't you do this for your mom? Mrs. Min asked. Stop blackmailing me, Yoongi said. Just do it then, Mrs. Min said.
Fine, I will come and greet your husband. Happy? Yoongi said. He's your dad also, not only my husband, Mrs. Min said.
The one who ruined my childhood, Yoongi said. Forget it, Yoongi, Mrs. Min said. It's not easy, Mom, Yoongi said. I know, baby, but he's your father, Mrs. Min said. I don't need a father like him, Yoongi said. Don't say this. People crave for father's love, baby, Mrs. Min said. Count me in because he never gave me father's love, Yoongi said. Maybe he have some problems, Mrs. Min said. Stop defending him, Yoongi said. Ish, I'm not defending him, Mrs. Min said. Your Yoongi said. Fine, Fine. Don't ruin your mood now, Mrs. Min said. Finally, Yoongi said. Yeah, Mrs. Min said. So when's the marriage? Yoongi asked. On this Wednesday, Mrs. Min said. Day after tomorrow, Yoongi asked. Yes, Mrs. Min said. All right, I'll try to come, Yoongi said. Not try, you've to come. You know Do-yeon loves you so much, Mrs. Min said. I know, Yoongi said. Then come for him. He said he want his young, Mrs. Min said. I'll come. Don't worry, Yoongi said. Okay, Mrs. Min said. Just make sure your husband won't taunt me, Yoongi said. He won't. Don't worry, Mrs. Min said. All right, I've to go now. It's my lecture time. Bye, Yoongi said. Bye, baby. Take care, Mrs. Min said. Yoongi hummed and cutted the call. Egg, I hate to go there, Yoongi said. He kept his phone inside the pocket and starts to take round in the cabin. Still 10 minutes were left for his lecture. Meanwhile, with Hemin, he came to the cafeteria and he was behaving all normal. Hey, Baek-si, Hemin said. Hey, where did you went? Baekhyun asked. Just went to the washroom, Hemin said. Stupid, did you forgot you told me that you're going to Sensei, Baekhyun said. Oh yes, Hymin said. Tell me what happened. What he said, Baekhyun said. He said it's all right. He isn't angry, Hymin lied. Oh really, did you confess? Baekhyun asked. Not yet. I guess I need some time, Hymin said. All right, take your time, but don't be too late, Baekhyun said. Yes, what did you bought? Hymin asked. Mom gave me bento, Baekhyun said. Baekhyun, Hymin said. Yeah, Baekhyun replied. How does it feels to have a mother? Hymin said. How does it feels to hug her and get her wortham? Hymin asked. It feels so great, Baekhyun replied. Really, I wish I had a mom, Hymin said. Don't be sad, Jiminy. My mom is also your mom, Baekhyun said. Really, Hymin said. Yes, you can meet her. Come to my home someday, Baekhyun said. Really, Baekhyun, Hymin said. His eyes welled up with tears. Ace Dumbo, obviously, aren't you my brother? Baekhyun asked. I'm your brother, Hymin said. Then my mom is also your mom, Baekhyun said. Hymin hugged Baekhyun and said, Ag, I'm so excited to meet Mom, Hymin said while crying. Stop crying, Dumbo. Before I beat you right here, Baekhyun said. Hymin laughed and broke the hug. Fine, Hymin said. Let's have our lunch. What did you bought? Baekhyun asked. Hyung also gave me bento, Hymin said. Today I'll eat yours and you'll eat mine, Baekhyun said. All right, I've no problem, Hymin said. They both changed their bento and starts to eat them. Even though Hymin was sad, but he thought to not show it. This time he thought that he'll be for strong. He won't care because this time Yoongi didn't hurt him. He thinks that Yoongi wasn't written in his fate. He's already getting married, it's not his fault. Maybe he is sad, but he isn't mad at Yoongi. Maybe he is hurt, but this isn't Yoongi's fault as well. Time skips after school. Here Hymin was sitting on the bench in the park. As per planned, he had to meet Chanyeol. After sometimes Chanyeol came. Did I make you wait for too long? Chanyeol asked. No, Hymin said. Chanyeol sat beside Hymin and gave him chocolate milk. Thanks. Can I ask you something? Hymin said. Yes, sure, Chanyeol said. Do you like me? Hymin asked. Chanyeol, who was drinking chocolate milk, suddenly stopped and said, Why are you asking this so suddenly? Chanyeol said. Because I can see this all from your behavior, Hymin said. Hymin, don't take me wrong. I used to love you, but not now, Chanyeol said. It was shocking for Hymin, but he said, To be continue.